Hi everyone, it's Tom with the LEC preview of this week. We're heading into the second week of the LEC Spring Split, and we've got 10 matches ready to go, so let's take a look at them and do some predictions. The first one is Mad Lions versus XL Esports, and obviously both had a 1-2 start, perhaps somewhat disappointing, especially for Mad Lions, who were a top 4 candidate and a top 4 team last year. So yeah, it was not the best weekend for Mad Lions, as I discussed in my LEC recap, but I do think that overall they should bounce back pretty easily here. And I do think that they will take the match over XL, mostly because I think that XL will need more time for their roster to flourish, whereas Mad Lions has more veteranship in the role of Armut already, and Elyoya already showed a lot of promise during the last weekend, and I think they'll just bounce back stronger from the 1-2 weekend. Then we go to Schalke 04 versus SK Gaming. SK Gaming positively surprised me last weekend, and Schalke 04 disappointed me, even though I predicted that they would have trouble with finding a direction in their gameplay, which they did up doing. I think that I still would have expected somewhat better SK Gaming. I do think that showed a lot of promise in how they played individually. I think that as a team, they also need more time to find themselves, really. And I actually think that SK Gaming has a good chance of taking this match. And you know what? Let's bet on them. Well, not literally bet on them, because that's not allowed in League of Legends esports, but I'm gonna say that SK Gaming is gonna take this match because overall I think that they showed more promise, and that Schalke 04 will have more trouble with finding the direction than SK Gaming. The third match is G2 Esports versus Astralis. G2 is gonna win that. Then the fourth match, so I'm not gonna pay too much attention to that match. Misfits Gaming versus Rogue. I think this might actually be one of the closest matches, if not the closest matches of the weekend, because Misfits Gaming showed up positively, surprisingly, last weekend, and Rogue was just incredibly dominant. I still think that Rogue will take the match, but I think that Misfits Gaming does have a window of opportunity to win, particularly if Rogue decides to not ban VTO Zoe, which we've already seen he is incredibly good on. But that said, if Rogue do ban the Zoe, which I expect they will do just to get that comfort out of the mid lane for Misfits, then it remains to be seen if VTO can stand his own against Larsen, and Larsen is perhaps the best laning mid laner at the moment now in the LEC. So I do think that overall Rogue will take this, but I expect this to be a really exciting and close match. Then we have Vitality versus Fnatic as the final match of the day. Fnatic obviously did bounce back strongly on Sunday after two incredibly disappointing matches on Friday and Saturday last weekend. And Vitality had showed some promise in their first two matches, should have won one more there, but in their last match against Astralis, which I ended up losing, it was just incredibly poor gameplay. Very disappointing to see from Vitality as well as from Astralis, but I expected a bit more from them. I expected more from Vitality. Anyway, I do think that Fnatic will take this. I think that if you look at the way these teams can progress, I think Fnatic has an advantage there. And also on individual level, I do think that Fnatic has an edge over Vitality. Then we go on to the second day, and we kick off with XL Esports versus Astralis. And both of these teams are not high in my power rankings. I had Astralis at 10th and XL at 8th. And I do think that XL will still take it based on these power rankings. As I said in my recap, Astralis just, I don't know, they seem not to know how to play the game. And XL does, even though their fundamentals are a bit rough. And I think that this will come into play big time on Saturday against Astralis. So I think XL will win this. Misfits versus SK Gaming. This might actually be another close match, but not as exciting as the Rogue versus Misfits one. But that's purely because I think that SK Gaming has high peaks already when this roster comes together. That said, given on how consistent rookie teams can be, there are 4 rookies on their team, and in total they have like 5 new players from one team. I think that consistency is not something they will meet at this point already. So based on that, I will give it to Misfits, because overall, as I said before as well, here it was very positively surprising in the roster there. And I do think that overall the level of play on Misfits is just going to be higher than SK Gaming's. The third match is Vitality versus Rogue. It won't surprise you that I think Rogue will win this probably, especially after seeing Misfits play last weekend. I think Rogue is incredibly clever around playing on the map. And I think that this is something that Vitality notably struggled with, even though their individual plays are pretty good. But I still would think that, for example, in the mid lane, you have Larsen versus Militia. Larsen is a better jungler. And you have in the top lane, you have Odoamne versus Shigenda. Odoamne is a better top laner. So basically, on all levels, I think Labrov, maybe the only team member on Vitality who you could say, okay, extrapolating from his play in the summer split last year, he could be a more consistent, high-performing factor than Trimby. But I do not think that Labrov has the potential to carry this match for Vitality. So I think Rogue will comfortably win this. The fourth match is G2 versus Schalke 04. Yeah, obviously a very interesting match because of how things ended last split, where Schalke 04 was giving G2 a very difficult time in, the spring split, I should say. And also, I think they also beat them in the summer split once. So it's very tough for me to say that Schalke will win this, though, because of the shape they're in at the moment and the shape G2 is in at the moment. I think G2, while they still have their rough edges, and I do think that Rogue is the more consistent team at the moment, it's still G2. There's still 5 amazing players who seem to be somewhat in sync already, and I do think that G2 will win this as well. Finally, the match of the week, Fnatic versus Mad Lions. We have, two teams that underperformed last week. I think that the LEC would have preferred, probably for the narrative, that both of them would have gotten at least one more win. But at this point in time, it's very tough for me to say this one. And not because I think that both will play outstandingly well. I actually think that this is not going to be a super exciting match, because both of these teams will probably be very hesitant to commit to fights and to go all in, even though that is Mad Lions' trademark style somewhat. I don't know. I do think that overall, if Mad Lions do come online, they're at this moment the better team, and I think that Fnatic has more difficulty in finding their shape than Mad Lions. You know what? I do think that Fnatic will win this. If I look at the top lane, we have Armut versus Bwipo. And even though Bwipo had some very bad play last year and was definitely not in his top shape, I do feel that he is feeling it a bit more at the moment. And I also do think that it's easier for the players on Fnatic to shrug off a loss. So when it comes to the jungle, you have Selfmade versus Alyoya, where Selfmade wins it pretty easily. Then you have Niski versus Humanoid. I do think that Humanoid has an edge over Niski there. But he might as well just have a run it down game like he had against G2. And then he can almost single-handedly lose his team the game. In the bot lane, we obviously have Upset and Hylissang versus Karti and Kaiser. And while Karti and Kaiser are a more established duo in the sense that they've played with each other already, and they know how they both want to play more than Upset and Hylissang do, I do think that overall there's going to be a big difference coming in from the jungle, and Fnatic will win this. That said, I will add a little asterisk. If Mad Lions are aggressive and find early opening kills, especially in the bot lane, I do think that that will be the way for them to win this game. So those are my predictions for the second week of the LEC Spring Split. Let me know in the comments below what you think the matches will be like. Which matches are you looking forward to? And what results do you agree or disagree with? Let me know. I definitely read all the comments and I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Also, if you do want to play against me, I'll plug it once again. You can play against me in my LEC Super Fantasy lobby, which I'll link below, which you can just play for free. It's pretty gimmicky, but it's fun, and it's something to get the League of Legends community a bit excited about and get invested into the matches. And I definitely enjoyed it. I think there are like 40 people there now, so you'd have to fight your way up, but who knows what can happen. The split is still pretty long. Finally, if you do enjoy my content, please consider liking and subscribing. It really, really helps me to be able to produce this content going forward. And obviously that's not just the LEC previews and recaps, but also all the interviews I've published so far on my YouTube channel with Broken Blade, with Armut, with people like Caps or people like MackeyX. If I want to be able to continue to do that, stuff like subscribing and liking would truly help me. So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you guys will have an exciting weekend, and I'll see you guys on Sunday for the LEC recap.